Okay, our next lesson is about macrame, and macrame is kind of a cool process. It is one of those things that there's a lot of different things you can do with it, but it's also a art form that has gotten very popular recently, and it kind of keeps coming back every couple of years. It just becomes popular again and again and again. If you want to go back and read some of this information later, I'm only going to hit the highlights as we go through, and then we're going to get on to the process. This is a little bit of a lengthy explanation of the art form, historical information. So macrame is believed to have originated in the 13th century Arab weavers. The artisans knotted the excess thread and yarn along the edges of hand-loomed fabrics into decorative fringes on bath towels, shawls, and veils. The Spanish word is derived from the Arabic, believed to mean striped towel, ornamental fringe, or embroidered veil. After the Moorish conquest, the art was taken to Spain, then to Italy, especially in the region of Liguria, and then spread through Europe. It was introduced to England at the court of Mary II and the late 17th century. Queen Mary taught the art of macrame to her ladies in waiting. Sailors made macrame objects in off hours while at sea and sold or bartered them when they landed, thus spreading the art to places like China and the New World. Macrame is the most popular in the Victorian era. A favorite showed readers how to work in rich trimmings for black and colored costumes, both for homeware, garden parties, seaside ramblings, balls, fairy-like adornments, or household and underlinens. So there's some more information here you can read, but I wanted to make sure that I pointed out to you some of the most popular things right now that you can find made out of macrame. Right now, the most popular is wall hangings and things for the home. This is actually a table runner, which I think is pretty darn cool. I kind of like that for my own house. But here is a close-up example of what some of this macrame can actually look like. Here's another one, mostly done in natural-looking, natural colored fibers, but you can also do them in color. Here's another example. Back in the 70s, these plant hangers were super popular. And you'll also find some of this stuff made out of purses, shawls. I think in the 60s, there were macrame vests were super popular. Here are a pair of earrings made out of macrame. And this is kind of just a close-up version of some different types of knots. Another close-up version that I thought was pretty cool, another wall hanging. Now we're going to get into what we're doing with it. We're actually doing macrame on a very small scale. We are going to be creating macrame jewelry. Now, if you've ever made friendship bracelets when you were younger, that's pretty much what this is all about. But to make it look like traditional macrame, it's all about the colors that you choose and about the materials that you use. Here are a few examples, close-up version of a macrame type bracelet. Here's a bunch of other examples here. Here's a pair of earrings. The vocabulary associated with this, there are a lot of different terms, and I'm not expecting you to remember the terms, but you're going to learn all of them and how to do all of them. So macrame is one of the vocabulary terms, and macrame is actually the art of knotting. There are different types of knots that you're going to learn. You're going to learn an overhand knot. You're going to learn a slip knot, a barrel knot, a lark's head knot, a lark's head sennet, half knot, a square knot, a spiral knot, a vertical half hitch, an alternating half hitch, a double half hitch, a finishing knot, which there's quite a few different types of finishing knots out there, but specifically we're going to be learning the slide knot. Here are a few examples that a student had made last year to show what each one of the knotting techniques that you guys are going to learn in the practice video, what they look like. So she did a slip knot here, an overhand knot, a barrel knot, with the lark's head. Actually, the lark's head's up here, lark's head sennet right there. The spiral knot down here at the bottom, the square knot right here in the middle, the half hitch, the alternating half hitch, and the double half hitch. Okay, that's what they look like. The supplies that you'll need for this project: scissors, 5 colors of embroidery floss, masking tape, a binder clip, which is just one of these little guys, which you should have in your kits. A book, a binder, or a clipboard, something that you can actually take your strings and clip it to a board so that you can pull the strings taut and keep it from pulling towards you. You need to make sure that you're getting the string pulled taut so that you can get the proper knots. You'll also need yarn, and the yarn you're going to use for practicing, because I've included quite a bit of yarn in your kits. I want to make sure that you aren't wasting embroidery floss because you need quite a bit of it for certain types of knots. All right, so into the steps. Using 4 yarn colors, you are going to cut the following pieces to prepare for the video. Cut the following pieces of yarn. The order that these are listed in are the order that they're going to appear in the video. So what I would do if I were you is I would cut them and I would lay them out on a piece of paper in your workspace with a number 1. Number 1 is the first one I'm going to use. Then cut what it says for number 2. 2 different colors, blah, blah, blah. Take a piece of paper, write number 2 on it, and lay what you've cut for number 2. And then I would do them that way so you don't lose track of them while you're watching the video. Next says, practice knotting along with the video to learn the techniques. And this is a technique video, and it's going to go through all of those different knot types. Those are all in parentheses here at the top. Follow along with the video. You may have to stop it, pause it, start it again, rewind, whatever. You're going to practice along with this video. And this is going to be a graded part of this project, the video or the practice part of this. When you're finished, tape them stretched out on a piece of paper labeled as the above photo. So what I want you to do is, after you're finished with this, I want you to take a piece of paper, label 1 through 5, tape down number 1 under number 1, number 2 under number 2, so on and so forth. And I want it to look similar to this one up here. Okay, that's how you're going to turn that part in. Number 3 says move on to your finished pieces. You must do 2 different finished macrame jewelry items and use 2 different knotting techniques for each. So what I'm saying is I want 1 piece here with this type of knotting technique and 1 piece over here with this type of knotting technique. So you're just trying 2 different things. Things that I will accept, because this is a jewelry project, items can include earrings, bracelet, necklace, anklet, keychain. Okay. Number 4 says add beads if you have them. You don't have to, but it's an option. Make sure you include a finishing knot, and the video for a finishing knot is right here. You can look up other types of finishing knots if you'd like. There are other types, but that one's probably the easiest one. Complete a critique sheet when you're all finished. I'm going to be grading you out of 100 points, and these are the following things I will be grading on. Your 25 points for your practice, 25 points for finished piece number 1, 25 points for finished piece number 2, 5 points for creativity, because this is kind of pretty cut and dry. Craftsmanship will be 10 points, and critique will be 10 points. Submission. Now this one's going to get a little complicated. For submission, remember, I need good, clear photos of these with good lighting. Otherwise, I can't grade them. If I can't see what's going on in the picture, I'm not going to be able to give you a grade. So it's very important that your pictures are nice and clear and crisp. Number 2 says take all the practice knots, stretch them out on a piece of white paper, tape them down, but do not tape over the knots themselves. So tape on the tails of the strings. Label it with number 1 through 5 to correspond with the numbers above. Put your name on that piece of paper and then photograph it. Number 3 says place your 2 finished pieces on a piece of paper. Label them number 1 and number 2. Put your name on that paper, but do not tape them down, and photograph that piece of paper. Make sure I can see your knotting techniques. Number 4 says complete a critique sheet. Aim on it, photograph it if you need to. Some of you guys have been using Cami, and that's totally fine. Some of you have just been using a straight up Google Doc just to type in the answers. That's also fine. Number 5 says upload all 3 of those to Google Classroom for grading.